are we going to provide our emergency services with new equipment or new ways of tackling a high-rise fire in light of the fact that they clearly were incapable of getting to the top floors to save people's lives?
The fire service will get everything they absolutely need, and all our emergency services will get everything that they absolutely need to deal with the situation. But the point that I was trying to make earlier is that all of us will be helped if we conduct this debate, obviously fired by a sense of, anger at what's happened, but also a sense of proportion. And one of the things that I would say as well, Piers, is that it's important as we look at what's happened to get to the right answers. You make a point about sprinkler systems, it's a fair one. But the determination to get to the heart of things that I have and other ministers have is one that manifests itself by talking to people on the ground, getting to the heart of the situation. And as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't help anyone if we allow, understandable though it is, emotion to cloud reason at this point.
And the emotion is anger on behalf of these poor people who lost their lives.
And do you think I don't feel that?
No, I'm sure you do, but you're unfortunately, unlike me, you're in a position to do something about it.
And I am.
Again. Philip Hammond said...
And you're in a position to do something about it as well.
Correct.
You have a responsibility.
Right, here's my
you have a responsibility and others have a responsibility, to look coolly at this situation.
Actually, you know what?
And not to try to be theatrical.
You know what? You can stick your coolness where the sun don't shine. I don't feel cool about this. I feel very angry about these people.
So
I feel very angry about the other people currently living in terror that this may happen to their tower blocks. Philip Hammond said yesterday, categorically...
Piers, I don't think that language like that is appropriate when we're reflecting on a situation.
I don't give a damn what you think.
Don't you?
No, I don't.
Well, why do you invite me on your programme?
Because if you're going to just say, I've got no right to feel passionate or angry or emotional about this, I don't give a damn whether you think I've got the right to do that. This has been a total disgrace. Philip Hammond said yesterday that categorically the cladding that had been used in this particular disaster was banned in this country, right? Was he right to say that?
Piers, actually he said that he understood and it would be a matter of criminal investigation.
Is it banned?
Once again, Piers, look,
is it banned?
I've come on and I'm happy to talk to you at any point about what we can do practically to do this. But Piers, what you're doing is deliberately seeking to heighten the temperature rather than seeking to reason and to think about what we need to do. Of course, we need to find out exactly what the position is with this cladding. It is part of what is potentially a criminal investigation.
Is the cladding banned?
It is part of what is potentially a criminal investigation.
Is it banned?
Well,
Philip Hammond said it was.
No.
Other people say it isn't.
No, he didn't, Piers. He said that he understood that it was, and that would be subject to a criminal investigation.
If a cabinet minister says he understands something is banned, that doesn't mean he thinks it's banned.
Well, if you look exactly at what he said, you'll see that he used his words particularly carefully. And all of us, including you, Piers, should use our words carefully, because what we need to do is not have a series of rhetorical showboating exercises. What we need
is not showboating, Michael.
What we need is
hundreds of people potentially have been killed by a devastating fire which should never have happened, and I'm afraid the blood of these people is on the hands of the politicians from all sides, by the way, but you're the current government in power and have been for a number of years. This should never have happened. This targeted the most poor and vulnerable people in our society. They had no sprinkler system, no alarm system that worked, one way of getting out, no emergency service capability to get to the higher levels. These are legitimate questions.
Yes, they are.
Which you should be asked as a cabinet minister. And you shouldn't be getting all touchy about the way that I emotionally phrase my questions. You should be giving us straight answers. You've had 6 days to work out the answers.
Well, I came into the cabinet 6 days ago. You're absolutely right. And one of the things that I've tried to do is to get to the heart of it, which is why I've talked to people involved, visited the immediate area, and why I'm trying, because I think that the important thing in government is certainly to appreciate the sense and the depth of emotion. I feel it myself, Piers, as you earlier were generous enough to acknowledge. But the other thing is, if we're going to have a conversation about what we need to do, then you're absolutely right to put these points. But what I need to do is to make sure that I get to the facts, because decisions which are made too quickly in an environment where there is so much that we need to investigate in order to get things right may risk not getting to the heart of things and not keeping people safe.
Okay.
Keeping people safe.
So the last inquiry recommended that all these towers retrospectively have water sprinkler systems, and it didn't happen, and that was years ago. So I'm afraid I have very little confidence in inquiries, because they tend to take years and years and years. Absolutely nothing ever gets done, and we end up with a disaster like this. And I'm sorry, it's made me very cynical about the inquiry system.
No, I quite understand your point, Piers, but one of the things is that we need to find out why it was that some of those recommendations were not fulfilled. My understanding is that recommendations were sent out to all in local government that buildings like this should have appropriate sprinkler systems. Why that didn't happen has to be a question for the inquiry.
Will you be prioritising it as a government now? Sprinkler systems in every tower block in this country. Every council runs
prioritising it because I said earlier, and I will say again, this is an absolutely horrific event. I mentioned earlier, I used to live until a few weeks ago, just seconds from where it occurred. I want to, on behalf of the people that I talked to last night, get justice and get answers. And I feel as strongly as anyone else about this, and that's why I'm determined that we should look at sprinkler systems. We should look at supporting the emergency services. We should also look at building design. We should ask ourselves tough questions about this. But the other thing that I would ask Piers as well is that, you know, when we're looking at the absolute detail, let's get those facts crystal clear and right so that your justifiable anger can be turned into a force for good.
Okay. Michael Gove, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. It's just coming up to 10 minutes past 7. Let's bring you up to date with our breaking news this morning. A new terror attack on the streets of London. Counter-terrorism police investigating a major incident after a van ploughed into worshippers near a mosque.
We have correspondents at the scene of the incident at Finsbury Park Mosque, Scotland.